We just went straight to Michigan State instead of coming to us. But it is Monday. My name's Crystal Holloman. This is Tim Staudt. We were just talking. Quite a weekend for the Harbaugh family.
Harbaugh boys had a good weekend.
They did.
Who had a better weekend between the two of them? That's a tough
Jim.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Jim.
Because Michigan's a legitimate contender. They're better than I thought they were.
Really?
You know what? He's got a quarterback, and for his 9 years there, he hasn't always had a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you got high aspirations, you better have a quarterback. He's got one.
Well, you were just saying with
He's got one.
John Harbaugh's matchup
He's
against
got a
Jared Goff.
quarterback.
He does. I started
got
him.
one.
I started him over Jared Goff, who,
Better have one.
if you just said if Goff is off, they are
Goff
off.
is off. They're going down.
They are.
Boy, was he off yesterday? They all were, but you know, like I've said, 17 games in the NFL over 18 weeks plus 4 exhibition games. You don't think that takes a lot out of you? And by the time you get to near the last month of the season in December, where the weather's bad when you play outdoors, you got so many guys banged up. It's just a question: the team you play, are they more banged up than you are, and at what positions do you not have guys out? I think some of those, I think if they had them all, they'd have still lost. But when you start losing those guys in the NFL, man, it takes a toll as the season goes on, and that's been their problem for years and years and years because they've never had enough depth. And when Matt Stafford went out, the guy behind him, you could have played. They lost every game without him. You can go play quarterback and lose every game without him just like that. Probably wouldn't cost them as much.
Not nearly as much. But, of course, the big story is Michigan State game from Saturday.
Like, were you arrogant after the game being a Michigan fan or not?
No, I was actually upset because I was hoping for a close game.
In other words, you wanted 56-0, not 49, and they screwed it up before the half and messed up the clock.
I was hoping we would be 35-0 at the half and it would be 70-0 at the end, but I was still upset because that's not a fun game to watch.
Well, that depends on who you ask.
I mean, at certain points, like, I couldn't watch another game.
The 8,000 trillion million Michigan fans I saw at that game, it looked like they were having a good time to me. I don't know what game you were watching.
At a certain point, you want, especially a rivalry game, to be competitive.
Excuse me.
I know. I'm taking your breath away. But
now what planet are you on? They're sitting in there. I mean, no, they don't want a competitive game. They want an embarrassing
as a
blowout.
fan, you want it competitive, though.
Not a Michigan fan. No. Yeah. They want that thing to be a complete embarrassment and annihilation. They were pretty happy. They don't want to sweat bullets in that game. They don't want that at all. They want to just enjoy the massacre.
It was quite possibly a massacre.
I think it's a little arrogant, though, to say you were very disappointed. It wasn't 35-0 at halftime because they blew the clock at the end, which they did, which they had to shrug their shoulders and traipse off downtrodden that they're up 28-0.
That was setting the tone for how the game was going to go.
Well, that you do have right, yes.
Yes, that was setting the tone. So at halftime, you looked at it and you could have easily seen that it was about to be 35-0 at the half. How competitive and how thrilling of a game is that to watch?
I thought it was great because I said, how high is this going to go? And you saw a game that you can tell your grandkids about. It's the largest loss in the history of Spartan Stadium in its 100th year. I got grandkids. I'll be saying I was there. I saw it. I saw Harbs punching in with 8 seconds to go to complete the route.
I did. Where did I find it?
If he doesn't punch it in with 8 seconds to go, it's not the largest loss in stadium history.
It's also the largest margin of victory in the history of battling for the Paul Bunyan Trophy.
So there's a lot of other exclusives that are in there.
It's the widest since 1947. I mean,
keep going.
It was also, we said it on Friday.
I don't know how much time you got, but you'll be hoarse by the time you had them all up.
We said it on Friday. It was the first time that the two head coaches were actually alumni of the schools they're coaching, too. So we've seen a lot of embarrassment on the field from the Spartans. At what point do they use it to fuel for a victory. They're going to Minnesota this weekend.
Well,
How do
I
you
don't know
feel
if
it?
they'd beat a team in the CAAC Red Division now. They lost 2 players today. Jalen Berger, the running back's out for the season with an injury he suffered in the Michigan game. And Simeon Barrow, the defensive lineman from Georgia, who's a junior, who's a starter, he's in the portal. That's 5 in the portal since Tucker left. That's another guy lost. I mean, they still have 5 games to play. It seems like they played 30. They've got 5 more games to play. That's a lot of controversy left. And the great thing is some of the best controversy is over there is nowhere near the football field. I mean, now we got to get a new. By the way, why don't you apply to be the scoreboard video person? Because they're looking.
We do have that story coming up a little bit later. Hey, Justin, we actually can use you over here. Come over here.
They're looking. If you're interested, send your resume over there because they're looking. You get 1 game to prove yourself because you got 1 home game left.
Justin Kent, over here or over here.
Yeah, I'll come right over here.
Would you have rather had the game be a closer game, or were you happy with a blowout?
Well, why does his opinion matter on this? Unless he's got money on it.
Tiebreaker.
No money on it. Being a Michigan fan, mostly growing up.
He wants a blowout.
Yeah.
You want to shut him up for good.
Now, I got to say, it would have been a little bit nicer to see a little more competitive of a game. Looking forward to the Ohio game for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But, it was a little sad. It was a little somber to see that it wasn't.
That's why they call him Big Brother and Little Brother.
We like the rivalry, and the rivalry's no good if both teams aren't good.
Yeah.
So that was my take.
Thank you, Justin.
Michigan fans I saw there didn't share that. They were upset they wasn't 60, 50, 70. And by the way, if they'd have left the court, the classic is they haven't played those first string guys in the fourth quarter all year long. He gets them out of there, plays all the other guys. That's how much depth he's got. He's going to play. He's going to have the same thing. By the way, Channel 10's got the game a week from Saturday, Purdue at Michigan. They're
They do. We just found that out today.
They're the next sacrificial lamb to go in there.
It's a night game, too, 7:30.
Right here on the Big Ten.
Actually, Amy has a question. Was the night game good or bad? I'm assuming she's asking for Michigan State. Was that a benefit to them? Was it?
When you lose 49-0, how could that be a benefit? I mean, I don't know why that's a benefit. They could have played them in the Stone Age, and it wasn't going to make any difference. They were going to, how many Michigan State starters do you think could start for Michigan? Start there. 0? The punter possibly, because you saw him enough.
We did.
The guy's got a sore foot today. He had to punt it so much. The punter possibly, that's where it ends. But the biggest difference is a quarterback, because they've got a quarterback who's – I was trying to think about this today.
We're seeing him right here.
The best quarterback I ever saw play at Michigan was Harbaugh himself. That's the best one I've seen. He's better than Brady, because Brady wasn't in college what he was in the NFL.
Right.
This guy's the real deal. This guy got better. This guy's the reason we got the Tucker problem in Michigan State, because he fumbled late in that game 2 years ago, and State got it, went in and won the game on the score. If he doesn't go in and fumble, then a lot of this wouldn't have happened, because Michigan would have won and there would have been no contract extension. So actually, I think McCarthy got him 2 different ways. He got him in a loss and he got him in a win. That's pretty good.
That's pretty smart. There was talk, Harbaugh was saying that JJ was the best quarterback that Michigan has seen, and that a lot of other quarterbacks in the future will be compared to. People forget that Brady didn't play a whole lot. And he certainly didn't play like he did in the NFL.
This guy's, and the thought is, if he isn't selected high in the NFL draft amongst a year of good quarterbacks, with the name, image, and likeness money he can get next year at Michigan, he could play there next year, then go into the draft as maybe the first overall pick. Put that in your funkin' wagnalls and think about that for a while. He theoretically could be back there again next year, because he doesn't want to be the 4th quarterback taken in the April draft in Detroit.
What about Hauser? Thoughts on Hauser? We're going to look at the other quarterback.
Well, you're asking a lot out of a kid who started 1 game at Rutgers and lost. Mm-hmm. Now you're putting him in prime time against the number 2 team in the nation, against a quarterback who's being mentioned for the Heisman Trophy. Come on. It's not a fair fight. And plus the fact, had you switched teams and put Hauser on Michigan and McCarthy on Michigan State, I don't think State would have won the game. I think Michigan still would have won the game. They're loaded. They got their defense. They don't give up anything. They don't make penalties. They don't turn the ball over. They're loaded.
do have here, the Spartans were held to just 182 yards of total offense in the game.
Harbaugh stole
Oh, my good sign.
You know what? You know what? You can in big time college athletic. If Harbaugh was 5-5, he'd be on a hot seat. If he was 6-4, 4-6, 3-6, whatever. But you know what? He's ranked number 2 in the country, 7-0. He's won 20 straight Big Ten games. He's been in the Final Four 2 years in a row, 2 straight Big Ten titles. Winning is an incredible ointment when other things are not, where it may not be fair. But college athletics, win, baby. If you win at the level they're winning, nobody cares.
So does that make what's going on with Michigan State harder to handle because they have so much going on off the field, like you said?
No, I don't think the signal thing's a big deal. That thing will go away. Even Tom Izzo told me he doesn't think it's that big a deal. And like I'm listening today, most teams change their signs when they play in a big game to begin with, like a catcher with a guy on second base changes the signal so that the runner on second can't see him. Could there be an issue about where that guy should have been where he should have? Maybe not, but I don't think it's going to shut the university down. I don't think it's going to shut their football team down. You know, I don't see that at all.
So what does Michigan State have to do to get out of this? Can they get out of this?
Can is a better word.
Can they get out of this?
No time soon. I mean, if he doesn't, I don't know why he'd want to go to the NFL. He's got the world by the tail in Ann Arbor. If he stays there in Ohio State, now you're getting a bigger Big Ten. Michigan State, they can't figure out who the board is, who the president is, who the athletic director is, who the football coach is, who owes who what. They can't figure any of that out, and that's got nothing to do with anything on the field. And now their fan base is a little feisty with the way things are going. Now we got the governor into it.
I was going to say, there's a lot of alumni that are not too happy.
I sat amongst them. Let me tell you, they're not happy campers.
And that was during the game.
And then they left.
Yes. Which you asked me what was going to happen if there was a significant lead in favor of Michigan and the weather held off a little bit, though. We did have that.
Before I go, to your point, they better find a coach and some players. Because if they don't, if they think this is bad, this is just going to continue to sink into in my opinion. And I don't know who the coach should be. I don't know if there's anybody in the profession right now that can come in here and fix that thing quick. I mean,
it's a
they got
tough task.
I mean, you think it's bad. What if they lose the next 5? You know, I mean, you won't be able to keep the grin off your face.
That's not true.
You won't be able to do that.
I won't do that to my coworkers.
Later for them. Either you win or you don't.
So, remaining 5 games, State has at Minnesota versus Nebraska, at Ohio State, at Indiana.
3 of them are going to be probably close.
Ford Field,
2 of them are going to be awful.
Penn State.
2 of them are going to be.
2 awful are Ohio State and Penn State?
Yeah, and then they're a touchdown underdog at Minnesota. You tell me, are they going to play hard there after Michigan? I don't know.
I hope so.
Can they play with Nebraska at home in the last one? Nebraska's a little bit. I mean, Nebraska plays defense. I mean, look, with every loss, your caliber of oomph goes down.
You mentioned the transfer portal. Does that seem to be getting more and more enticing for some of these players every week with every loss?
Well, they lost a good player today, and I don't think. I mean, it just depends on how. I mean, they're all going to look at this. I think it'll be. I think once the season is over, if they don't have, a coach. Almost right there, him. He's from Oregon. Mm-hmm. He's not going to start Saturday. They're going to bring him off the bench, and sure enough, if this kid doesn't play, he'll go right back to Oregon. I'll be shocked if he's not in the portal. That play right there set up the last touchdown just to kind of seal the deal.
That was within I believe the last 4 minutes
everybody
of the game.
The Michigan fans were nervous they were going to take a knee, but Harb said, no, we're going for the jugular, which they did. So.
They did.
I got no other answers for you.
No. Well, that is
Paul.
That is Paul staying in Ann Arbor.
He may be down there a while.
Real quick, we do have the brackets for high school football playoffs. Anything that catches your eye?
Next week you're going to see DeWitt at Mason, and that'll be a terrific rematch game. That'll be our game of the week, and it'll be much closer, I think, than the first one. The team that got a bad deal's Fowler. They're 8-1. They got to go 9-0 Ithaca in Division 8. That's a tough opening draw. there are a lot of other teams in the area that are going to be one and done because they made it in, but they got tough assignments.
Okay.
I think Sexton will be better than a 41-0 loser at Portland this time out, but I don't think they can beat them. DeWitt will win. East Lansing will bury Everett again, and Mason will win easily, and that sets up DeWitt at Mason next week, and that'll be a good rematch.
That'll be a good one. We have that on our website, WLX.com. You can find it there, the entire bracket for our local teams. Tim, thank you so much.
All right. Don't gloat too much around.
I have not. Thank you.
Nobody would blame you.